welcome to Race Sensation. I'm your host, Dan, and on this episode, I'm going to be looking at this 2023 publication from Fantagraphics Press, Out of My Mind, The Imaginary Creatures of Joseph Baque by Brian Chadister. And this artist, Joseph Baque, I first learned about him on the Monster Brains blog, a great internet resource from about monsters all throughout pulp culture, but also throughout art history, humankind history. I think you should check out Monster Brains blog. But let's check out this book that I have right here on hand. Now, this book is actually, it's pretty much folk art. It's outsider art, as they say. This fellow, Joseph Baque, lived in Spain, mostly under Franco's rule, I believe. And he started doing these monsters for a bestiary. These creatures are for a bestiary. And for those of you who don't know what a bestiary is, they cover it in this book. There's a great foreword before you get the meat of the book is the bestiary he created. But in the beforehand, they talk about the political climate, the art climate, what its influences kind of were. But it also has pictures from other bestiaries. Bestiaries were really, I guess, the 1700s, I guess, is when bestiaries really started. I'm sure it says in here somewhere a better date than that. But they could be an attempt to catalog animals from around the world that people in Europe, which is mainly where these were done, they would try and do bestiaries for creatures in Africa or Asia or something. So creatures that they weren't familiar with, but a lot of the bestiaries were also for folklore creatures or mythical creatures or things like that. So bestiaries could cover a lot of ground, and this does a good job of talking about those. Talking about some of the things that were an influence. So he, over the course of his life, worked on this bestiary, and he changed the number of beasts he was going to do as he was going along, and he ended up with 1,500. Now, he actually did a few more beasts besides that. Not all of them made it into the bestiary, but they published the entire bestiary in here in this book, and it's fantastic. So who would like this crazy book with these wild, fanciful monsters? I think most people would. I think there's a lot of great inspiration here for people who love monsters and who love outsider art, folk art. I mean, this is a guy who did this fabulous collection just for himself, and it just shows you the kind of imagination, the kind of love of this art form that he had. I'm not going to go through the whole book, but here it is. This is the bestiary. These are the creatures. Page 1, page 2. All these. I love this. This is the kind of creature you would find in some of the kooky, the more personal, independent comics that I like. I mean, I can definitely imagine this creature in a John Jacobs book like Fighting Dr. Peculiar or someone like that. I mean, these are just so much fun. So, like I said, this came out this year, 2023, from Fantagraphics. Fantagraphics does a lot of books. I definitely don't have the money or the space to keep up with all the great books the Fantagraphics does. I will say that there are some that I passed on because I thought they would be around for a while, and now they're real collector's items. And I know it's hard to tell ahead of time, what's going to go out of print really quick and then cost me a lot of money when I want to get it later. I mean, that's If we could all guess that, we'd all be a little bit better off. But I think this is one to have. I think it's. I mean, look at that. Those are fantastic. These are so much fun. Sometimes you can tell what animal was his real world inspiration, but many of these are just so far out there. Again, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. You can see from this the type of creatures it is. I mean, these are great. So yeah, I think these could provide a lot of inspiration to people, and I highly recommend this book. That's all.